I host Method and Madness, and the podcast on the unsolved murder of Kristin O'Connell, part 1, is dropping this evening. So it's March 6th. If you're on the East Coast, you get to hear it at midnight. And that's when it'll officially go out on all podcast platforms. Really exciting to get some more eyes and ears on this case and the exposure that the family has been wanting. This will be the first sort of in-depth look at her case that's been sort of published. So yeah, we're really excited for the potential audience and who's going to listen. And, maybe somebody will come forward. Maybe something will, push this case forward.
So you said it's in parts, right? Is it in 3 parts?
It's at least 3 parts, so it's looking like it'll be more like 4, and those will be released each week. So you'll get part 1 tonight, and then part 2 will be next Tuesday. You won't have to wait long, and then it'll follow by 3, and most likely part 4 as well. There's a lot to look into. It's not just, what happened when Kristin visited Ovid, New York, and when she was murdered, but it's also a lot of what's been uncovered since 1985, mostly by investigators, private investigators, advocates who have really dug up a lot and interviewed a lot of people. So there's a lot to go through, and I really wanted to give Kristin her due.
Right. And so with all the stuff that's uncovered, is a lot of this stuff brand new that nobody's heard before? Because there hasn't really been any major in-depth coverage of this, right?
Correct. So, I guess the basic information has been out there for a while, that Kristin was found on August 16th, 1985 in a cornfield, brutally murdered. So the public most likely knows a lot of the basic details, but even some people who have been following the case are unsure about why she went to Ovid. We really go a lot deeper into what brought her there, what her life was like leading up to that. And that's part 1 is really going to get into sort of the nitty gritty about what happened before that trip, what sort of led her to that trip, what she did on that trip, who she met. And then after that, once we get to part 2 and 3, it's going to be a little bit more about what's been uncovered mostly by private investigators over the last, I would say, 16 years, things that have been uncovered about the town and the people. And I've interviewed a few people from Ovid who lived there at the time. They still live there. And I found it kind of telling that they wanted to be anonymous. There was a little bit of like a palpable fear there. So this is the types of things that, we're going to get into in each episode.
Have police or anyone that you've spoken to, has this gotten any sort of reaction? Because I know that this is to try to get traction on her case. So have you seen anything like that happen yet? Or are you hoping once this airs that it happens?
That's a really good question. So, I've been researching and sort of investigating this case for about 6 months now. And the people that are involved, we have the private investigators that I speak with, also the documentarian Chris Pavlik out in LA, who had been working on getting a documentary done a couple of years ago, and that was sort of halted when the state police didn't want to work on it. So he's been a huge resource. So he's always kind of keeping me in the know. He hears a lot of things. And it does seem like recently some little things have been trickling in that, so this person was recently just interviewed again after not being interviewed for decades. So like little things are starting to trickle in. Now it's hard for me to tell if that's sort of thing that has happened through the years, or if it's because we're sort of kicking up some dirt and, we're reaching out to a lot more people. So who knows, but I have been hearing that this person's been interviewed again, or this organization might be involved in investigating. So we're hearing little things, and so hopefully that means something is starting to move.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then is there anything else that you want to add before this drops tonight?
Just that share with as many people as possible, because the old cliche is someone knows something. And I know that Kristin's mom, Phyllis, she keeps saying that whenever we talk on the phone, she's like, I know somebody knows something, and this must weigh on somebody's conscience. And, she still to this day cries and misses her daughter. So you just try to put yourself into the shoes of a mother who literally said goodbye to her daughter to go on a trip. And that was, the last she ever saw her in 1985. She really she's 82, she just wants the story to end, as she keeps saying it. So yeah, share. And if someone knows something, please come forward.